He loves making up crazy stories about people who have died and gone to the other side. Like these stories, to get new content, click the bell, give a thumbs up, and enter your email address. It's free and helps this station get bigger. Grab a cup of coffee or tea and get ready to read today's stories. An old friend sent him an email with a link to this channel, which made him think of his own close call with death. His friend saw the connections and told him to look into it more. When he heard that link and others like it, he could no longer ignore what he had been through. Knowing that other people had been through the same thing gave him confidence that his vision wasn't just a temporary trick. He kept it to himself most of the time and only told close friends, like the person who sent him the link. Everything took place after he turned 30. Only his mother had lived with him, and she had died the day before. He had to plan the funeral by himself. He had a hard time planning the service by himself because he was sad and worried about money. Because he had been tired for days, he fell asleep feeling sad. That night, as he was getting his medicine, he felt a sharp pain in his chest and passed out. When he opened his eyes, the next thing he knew, he was floating above his dead body. He knew it looked hurt, but he didn't care about it at all. He then realized that our bodies are like clothes. They're meant to die and are thrown away when they've served their purpose. He saw a tunnel forming just above the door to the hallway, but he wasn't sure if he had stepped into it or been pulled inside. As he moved forward, more tubes joined together, like highway lanes that merge. He saw bright orbs that looked like him moving towards a light far away. At that point, he knew a lot about the mysteries of the world, including advanced math, science, and history, but he still couldn't find the source. He knew he was leaving the light, which was his real home, to go back to Earth. On the way back, all of his earthly feelings, anger, hatred, and bitterness, drifted away. Even the pain of losing his mother went away, leaving only love. As he got closer to the light, which was the final source, love rushed through him and filled him up like a balloon that kept getting bigger. It was just when he thought he couldn't hold any more love that more light came into him. 5 minutes felt like 500 years because time seemed to bend and stretch. Time stopped being important. The light was endless and beyond time. His limitless self joined the light. He could feel a lot of other glowing orbs doing the same thing. Then all of a sudden he was pulled away from the light and into a huge white room that didn't have any walls, ceilings, doors, or windows. He had no idea where the beginning or end were. His only desire was to return to the light and return home. It was impossible to tell how long he had been in the room because it felt like time had stopped. He had no hunger or thirst. All he knew was that he was there. He spent his time looking for walls and figuring out where he was. An angel that was 9 feet tall, had broad shoulders, wore a white dress, and had a metal belt around her waist. "Are you back?" the angel asked with a warm smile. He was shocked by what the angel said and asked, "What do you mean, me again?" "You've been here before," the angel said. "You picked to come back to Earth." He wasn't sure if he had been there or not. He remembered how he was made, how he joined Earth, and what his role was. The angel said he had been there before, though. "When you came back last time, you probably forgot," the angel said. "If I've been here before, why would I go back?" he asked himself out loud. "Souls on Earth often forget their first meeting," the angel said. "Earth is the toughest test. A spirit that comes back to life but doesn't finish their mission gets to choose if they remember it when they get back to their body." He was confused and said, "That still doesn't explain why I chose to go back." A deal he made with the angel laid out his goals for this world. He looked it over again and saw that some boxes weren't checked. He remembered that he had indeed chosen to go to Earth and come back without realizing it as he held the paper. He thought that getting his work done would be easier because he wasn't aware that he was away from his real home. He thought of becoming a soldier. War isn't perfect, but it has honor. Life on Earth is like facing the toughest challenges, and being successful there is seen as a great accomplishment for a person. His desire for a second chance on Earth came back all of a sudden. In this case, though, he wanted to remember his real house. He knew the light was real and that he was a part of it, but he still couldn't figure out what the universe was all about. When he finally woke up on the floor, his body and soul seemed to be at odds with each other. Being briefly outside of his body had shown him how big his soul was. The chest pains got better, but the mental pain got worse. He missed the brightness of the light and wished for his mother, who had died. This made his sadness worse. Normal things like eating and sleeping became too hard to handle. Even though his feelings got less intense over time, he still had a hard time. He even wondered sometimes if the afterlife was real or if it was all in his mind. Over the years, some of his friends told him it was just a dream, while others said it was because of the blow to the head that night. But a friend sent him a link and said it sounded like a very close call with death. He feels better now that he knows his mother is in a better place after what he saw. He wishes that in the afterlife he had gone over his life again to help him deal with his problems now. He knows the problems he had, but he doesn't want to tell anyone else about them. He wanted to include as much information as he could remember, which is why the email is so long. He didn't talk about the psychic conversation with the angel because he couldn't remember it clearly. He wants you to keep that in mind as you read because the words may not be correct after all these years. At the end of his email, Jay thinks about the day and wishes the receiver and their family happiness. He asks people to leave notes and ends by saying to be safe and blessed until next time.